Hello and welcome to Concert Pipeline. I'm Steve Jones. This is the fourth episode of BottleRock content that Concert Pipeline is featuring. We are here all 3 days and covered lots of performances, lots of bands. We interviewed a ton of bands, and so check out the other 3 episodes that we've done up to this point. If you haven't yet, definitely recommend it because it's such a fun music festival, and I'm so glad to have this in Napa, which is right now my backyard as of today. If you check out one of the other episodes, you'll realize that and hear that this is my last night living in Napa. So it's going to be bittersweet. That is the word for it. That's the word I was looking for earlier when I was thinking about how much I'm going to miss living in Napa, what it's going to be like, and how I'm going to process the change, because I just bought a house in Vacaville, a couple towns over, and it's going to be a big change for me, for the kids. They're going to finish out the school year here in Napa, but next year going to school in Vacaville, and it's going to be a lot of changes, right? So we'll see what happens with all of that, but I'm a bit closer to a couple of things by living in Vacaville. One, duck hunting. There's a lot of duck hunt refuges out in Sacramento, so that puts me 45 minutes closer to that. And when I'm getting up at 1:30, 2 a.m. in the morning to get out and duck hunt, that extra 45 minutes it will be valuable. And I have a couple friends who live in Vacaville who are duck hunters, so we can commute and roll together a lot easier. That makes that easier too. And concerts, Sacramento concerts, will be closer to that. And I'm not too much farther from San Francisco or the Bay Area by being in Vacaville, because I'm right near the freeway. It's a bitch to get to the freeway from Napa. It takes half the trip, in a lot of cases, to get there. So it's not going to be all bad. It's going to be a good thing. And I'm a homeowner now, which is huge. Also, I own property and I have my own spot in this world, which is pretty cool. Worked hard to get to that point. So that's my story. Let's talk about what we have on the program today. We have 2 bands that I'm featuring interviews with from BottleRock here in Napa. The first band is Greensky Bluegrass. I had a chance to talk to Paul, who plays the mandolin. I almost said Mandalorian because, I got Mando on my mind. But he plays the God, I almost did it again, mandolin. And they have a new album out. We'll talk about that in just a second. But we also have Taipei Houston, which is 2 brothers, Layne and Myles, and they have a pretty famous rock drummer of a dad who we don't talk about him at all. I wanted to focus on them, but when we get to them, I'll tell you who he is. But I didn't want to talk to them about him and make it about that. So, all right. But I really enjoyed their performance. We'll get into that in just a little bit. Let's get back to Greensky Bluegrass, shall we? Okay. I had a chance to talk to Paul, like I said, from Greensky Bluegrass. We stood right here in front of this backdrop here in the media room at BottleRock, and so before we get into the interview, we're going to get into a performance from Greensky Bluegrass when they played the main stage at BottleRock. So here's a song from Greensky Bluegrass, and then we'll check out the interview.
Rest of my being, going on with my demon. rest of my beer. Going home with my demons. Reviewing all these notes, and I brought these possessions. The first is most notable. It's what somebody told me to respond. Molly Rose and leaving down. I was happy, but now I'm leaving. He's the rest of my beer, I'm leaving. Going home with my demons.
I'm here with Paul from Greensky Bluegrass, and Paul, I mean, what a great set you guys had today.
Thank you. Thanks.
I mean, it's a mix of chill, but also it's banjo, it's bluegrass, it's amazing, and it's a great addition to the BottleRock Festival.
Thank you so much. I'm really glad to be here. It's a beautiful area, an amazing lineup. It's just like all over the place. I love playing music festivals, that have everything. Snoop Dogg's here tonight, Metallica last night.
Right.
Rainbow Kitten Surprise on right now after us. It's just like, I love that eclectic collection of music.
You get to be here for the whole weekend and experience all of it?
Just today. I wish I was staying. There's a guy playing tomorrow named Foy Vance that I just adore. He's from Scotland. And I don't know when I'm going to get the chance to be on a bill with him again. I almost stayed. I still might.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens
You
out there.
never know. The weekend's young, but you guys don't have to take off too soon, I hope. Then.
Yeah, we're hanging out for a while to check out the music.
Good. Yeah, Metallica was pretty great last night, by the way. You mentioned them. I mean,
yeah, I saw them at Mile High in Denver one time.
Oh, that's
There was a 45-minute lightning delay.
And
Everyone had to go in the concourse, and when we came back, you know what they did.
Yes,
Ride the lightning.
Yeah.
Yep. And they still played their full show. They played over city curfew and paid $1 million fine or tens of millions of dollars, and I was in the crowd like, this is rock and roll.
That's
I was
done.
so proud. I have no right to be proud of them, but I was very proud.
Here you don't get to go over curfew. Like they've cut Dave Grohl off twice. During Everlong in 2017, and last year he came out and played with Guns N' Roses during Paradise City. And,
Paradise City and Everlong both cut. Wow.
Yeah,
See, Metallica did it. That's rock and roll, baby.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so it was a good set. But you guys, I mean, you have a new album. So tell me about the process for making the new album, because it's a different approach. Stress Dreams.
Stress Dreams is the name of the record. We recorded it, through that long period of time where we weren't playing any shows, and we did it in Vermont. We did it in Nashville. We spent a lot of time recording because every time we would go to the studio, we would add 3 days on because we didn't want to go home. We were having fun playing music together, and we plotted over some of the music for a long time because we just were enjoying doing that. Normally we have to crank out a record real quick because we have shows to get back to. So got some new guys in the band writing songs for the record. Our bass player wrote a few songs. Our dobro player wrote a song. Normally it's myself and our guitar player. So
did it feel pretty natural looping them in and kind of giving them a chance?
Yeah, I sang a couple of the songs that the bass player wrote and the one our dobro player wrote I sang, and they feel like my songs now. They're our songs, it feels natural.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So tell me your approach when you go to writing songs. I mean, so this is my first time seeing you guys live, but some of your songs, I mean, heavy lyrically, and then some are, I mean, have a lot of instrumental and little lyrics mixed in.
Yeah, you nail it. You nailed it, man. Heavy lyrics and long instrumentals.
Yeah.
That's kind of some of the subject matter is kind of heavy, and it's I guess that's true to bluegrass in some way, but Pink Floyd was real big for me when I grew up, and it's these really emotional, serious content, often very depressing. Yeah. And then the music's so psychedelic, and it's these Gilmore solos or something, it's not a Fish. And I like that juxtaposition of a psychedelic, safe place to have fun, a rowdy band that's just going to send you to the edge of your celebration and just get you out there loose and partying. But then if you're listening to the lyrics, it's like it's heavy, and you're confronting like fears and emotions and like some real serious stuff while in this like safe place of having fun. And I hope that our music does that. Some of it's just like light and silly.
Yeah.
But some of it's pretty dark and also just like.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good to. I mean, you can find a balance with bluegrass, right? You stick a banjo in there, and it lightens the things up that are even dark material a little bit, right? Like
those are creepy sometimes.
it could be. They could be creepy. Yeah, yeah. And so, tell me, where were you kind of at 2000? You guys formed in 2000, right? And so, where were you in life, like when you formed this band?
I was just moving to Kalamazoo, Michigan, where we met, to attend college. I was a freshman in college, and I went to an open mic night and saw two of the guys playing as a duo. I had only owned a mandolin for like a month. I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. I didn't know what bluegrass was at all, but I bought a mandolin because I knew what Dave Grohl was. I knew what Old and the Way was from Jerry Garcia, and I get that's bluegrass. But like, you know, they were like, you know what Bill Monroe is, and I said no, and every mandolin player watching is like, that's blasphemy, you know. It's, I do now, but I still have never played rawhide, so it's like so just like it was pretty informal. We started playing the open mic night a lot, and like we kind of developed a following as an open mic band, and the guy who ran the open mic would give us free beer. I was only 19.
Well, that's an easy, you know, so you don't need money when you got free beer and you're 19.
Every week for free beer, and then one thing led to another, and here we are at BottleRock, 22 years.
Yeah,
later.
crazy, right? Yeah, that's a milestone. Like it takes a lot to last that long, and so tell me about how the dynamic of the band has changed over the past 22 years.
A couple years later, our bass player, we were kind of a trio for a while, and then had some bass players that played with us sometimes, but not serious. Our bass player joined in 2004, and we started touring, and out on the road we met our dobro player, Anders, and he joined in 2007. So it's been the five of us for 15 years now.
Wow.
And I don't know, like we got in some bigger vehicles. We were in a 12-pass van with a trailer driving ourselves, and then we were in this bandwagon thing. So like when I look back at the trajectory, like aside from smaller rooms to bigger rooms and small crowds to bigger crowds, I think about like these vehicles that we grew through. But it really felt like until 2020 we just like momentum, just like kept playing, like tour, little time off, tour, festivals, little time off, tour, festivals, just like it all kind of, we just didn't stop. That's just what we've been doing for 15, 20 years. And then to stop doing it for a while was interesting to sort of like now be out here getting like this retrospective understanding of what we used to do so mindlessly in a way.
Yeah, and so I mean, were your parents musical influences at all? Like, what was on in your household, and how did you kind of?
A little bit. My parents listened to music. My mom was real into the Beatles. I remember as a kid, like being like the techie millennial kid. I think I'm pre-millennial, or I'm somewhere on the cusp or something. But like, I would make cassette tapes of all my parents' LPs for their cars. That was my nerd thing, and got a lot of music that way. I started playing guitar. Did a lot of theater as a kid. I was a community theater kind of guy.
What plays did you do? Like,
Joseph.
And the technical,
Oliver,
yeah,
all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. And so do you feel that kind of gave you that presence for being able to perform in front of an audience?
I think I've always thought of myself as a performer, often even a performer before a musician. I'm a writer, I'm a performer, a musician, a business owner, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That part I like the least, but I still have a gift for it.
It's the dirty work, right?
The performance is like, I live for it.
Yeah. And so the first album that you guys did together was Less Than Supper, right?
Less Than Supper, 2004.
Yeah, and so but it took kind of 4 years for that to form and come together. Tell me.
We were just kind of playing all those 4 years. We were just playing bluegrass and like learning our instruments. We were all new to our instruments. Our banjo player, guitar player, were drummers and guitar player before, so we were all on a new instrument, just learning how to play together.
Yeah.
So like, aside from just our musicality. Like even being in a band, we kind of only know how to do it together.
Yeah.
Because we haven't really done it with anyone else.
That's amazing, though, because usually you have a couple that you start with, and then
like sometimes we all do side project stuff now, and it's a really interesting learning process to like, if I go work with another band, I have to work with a drummer. I was telling Afi from Bahamas, we were talking about it. Like I have to hire someone who knows how to tell the drummer what to do.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what to tell
them.
They
just know you're
like do the just like a go, and it just is so awkward.
Yeah.
I've never been in a band with a drummer until I did it for fun a couple times. So
Yeah. So does that kind of make you a little more hesitant to collaborate with others, or do you feel comfortable kind of?
I feel comfortable with it now. And it's like that in that situation, being the band leader is different than just like going to sit in. We have a lot of friends with bands with drums and rock bands that we've played with and sat in over the years. So
Yeah. Yeah. And so you guys played the Fox Theater in November in Oakland.
Yeah.
Do you remember that show? Like,
I do, with Holly Bowling. It was a blast.
oh, see, the Fox Theater is such a beautiful venue, right? Like,
Yeah, we played. It's the first time we'd been there. We played Halloween 2015 there, and it's one of my favorite shows we ever played.
Yeah.
Really, we had a really good costume theme thing going on. It's funny to think back. Like, if there's some that stand out, that's one of them.
You guys do a lot for your Halloween shows, from what I understand. Like, you go all out and with the costumes.
We still wear costumes. We told ourselves years ago that, like, if we ever get too cool to dress up for Halloween, we're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
So it can be kind of a pain. We've done it a lot. And it's like, now what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
We're like, let's do that psychedelic thing again where we paint ourselves silver with glitter.
Yeah.
I like that one the best.
What's the favorite theme that you've had when you guys have done the Halloween costumes?
That one right
That's
there.
it?
Yeah, Fox Oakland. We were like silver spacemen. We wore like caps and painted our heads silver and stuff. And our only theme was like space.
So-
It was like this real
You keep it loose
We
and-
never did like define the theme, and I thought it led for like musicality and like, you know, we played Rocket Man and I don't know what else, but we've done a ton of 80s Halloweens and stuff where we play a bunch of 80s songs. But this one was just like spacemen,
Yeah.
aliens. I don't know what we were. We didn't know, and it made. I felt like it made for a really cool show.
Yeah. Well, with Rocket Man or any other band covers that you do, like, how do you make it your own while paying tribute to the artist?
I guess just getting into it, you know. Sometimes we change the feel of the covers, make them a little more bluegrassy. A lot of times we speed songs up a little bit because without drums, it just feels like it helps the energy.
Yeah.
So it's just always kind of a question sometimes, like existential even. Like, what is the important part of the song? Is it the energy? Is it the tempo? Is it that hook in the guitar? Is it the delivery of the vocals? And you know, like what combination of those things is the most important? Because quite often we're not like just playing a song direct. You know, we don't have a keyboard player, we don't have a drummer,
No.
so we have to break up all the parts of a cover that's like a Michael Jackson song or something, and figure out who's going to do the keyboard part. And like, it's fun. It's really fun. I think it's taught us how to like expand our own music by like having those conversations about Prince songs or something like that.
Right. And being around for so long, I'm sure you've played the Bay Area a number of times, right? Like,
Connecticut Yankee, I think, was the first club we played in.
I don't even know that one.
It's not around anymore.
No.
It's a real small, little tiny place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was some of your favorite memories from playing the Bay Area?
Man, playing the Fillmore.
The Fillmore, there you go. Yeah, you said it.
Independent.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah. Played all the rooms, though. A lot of them. The Warfield. And
Yeah.
that one in the basement was the Cafe du Nord.
Oh, Cafe du Nord.
Du Nord,
Yeah. That's
that
a
one
good
I
one.
barely even remember.
Right,
I
yeah,
almost spit it out.
You got it though. You were there, yeah. And the Fillmore, I was telling a band like an hour ago about the Fillmore because they're going to play there in a couple months, and I'm like, oh my God, it's going to be one of the most memorable shows on your tour because the energy in that room, right?
Yeah. First time we played the Fillmore and headlined it, we hired Sam Bush to play the whole show with us.
Wow.
Or most of it, because we were wanting to make a big deal out of it. It's
Yeah.
2013. I remember being so nervous. I wasn't as good of friends with Sam as I am now. Yeah, so I remember that one too. It's a memorable show.
Yeah, you can get lost in those posters on the wall and everything, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, Paul, thank you for taking the time, and I mean, hopefully you've had a great time here at BottleRock. You've gotten some good eats, and
They're feeding us real good back there. That's why I want to stay as long as possible.
Oh, yeah.
I'm full and ready to go to sleep.
well, enjoy, and hopefully you get to sneak an extra day in tomorrow because it'll be some more good performance.
Big fan here.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
That was the interview with Greensky Bluegrass, and we're going to play one more song from their set. This is one that I talked to Paul a little bit about, and I don't know the name offhand, to be honest, but I really dug it. It's a cool vibe that they have, because this is one that kind of breaks the norm a little bit. This is there's a little bit of lyrics in it, but not a lot. But it has a big punch to the song, and so it was pretty cool to hear. I mean, it felt like kind of jammy to hear this song, and I was totally into it. So. really cool bluegrass band, and cool to kind of bring some diversity to the BottleRock stage through different types of music as well. So we're gonna play one more song from Greensky Bluegrass. Here it is.
I grew up on Mount
I'm filling up on your emptiness. I feed myself with pain.
I'm assuming they're always going to play classics.
It's what I need to rise again today. It's the greed on which I lean. I start to prove that I hear, confirming all of my fears. I need the screams in my ears, something real I can feel. I'm tired even with plenty of sleep. I'm missing the rest. And what I long to feel again won't fill the emptiness of its absence. I start to prove that I hear, confirming all of my fears. I need the screams in my ears, something real I can feel. more. I'm not complete without the rage. I lose myself in silence and empathy. I start proof that I hear. Confront my feet. I need the screams in my ears, something real I can breathe.
All right, that was Greensky Bluegrass here on Concert Pipeline, and it takes us to our second band that we're featuring. The cool thing about these festivals is you get to talk to multiple bands and get to chat and hear their story. You know, a lot of the interviews that we've been doing on Concert Pipeline have been longer, more in-depth interviews that we've done through Zoom, where the bands have a lot of time, but these ones are, you know, kind of truncated a little bit. This one is a little bit longer than some of the others, but we had a really great vibe. I really enjoyed chatting with Layne and Myles from Taipei Houston about their start in music, their new album, which they have that they're working on. They shared the title of it. I hadn't heard that before, so I think that's a Concert Pipeline exclusive, which is pretty cool. And we don't have a release date for it yet, but all that's coming. I don't want to spoil all of it, but before we do that, of course, more music. That's what we need, because BottleRock is all about live music. So, I mean, it's everywhere. And culinary. It's not all about live music. It's about the culinary stuff, too. Which we'll get to a little bit later in the program. But let's play a song from Taipei Houston's set here at BottleRock. They were on early in the day, and the duo played a pretty rockin' set. I tell you, Myles kicks ass on the drums. He gets into it like hard, and they got a really good vibe together. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. We're going to start with the first song that they played on their set, which is called As the Sun Sets, and then we'll get into the interview. Here it is.
We'll
Layne and Myles from Taipei Houston. How are you guys doing today?
Doing great.
Doing super well, thank you. Yeah.
You loving BottleRock or what?
Oh my God, been a blast.
Yeah.
Total blast.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've been here all weekend, I imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who have you enjoyed catching?
Yeah, we just caught the end of Grandson. Caught the end of Grandson actually, which is really cool. Yeah. He was definitely, in terms of like seeing like riff people around as well. You know what I mean? People who do like rock stuff as well. It's fucking really cool.
Saw Greta Van Fleet and Spoon on Friday.
Yep.
That was a total vibe.
Yep. Very cool. And you had your set earlier today as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys get into it, and you're crazy on the drums, by the way.
Thanks,
So
man.
Just fucking madman.
yeah. So when did you guys start playing music?
I started. Well, we both always listened and been like into it. I started playing around 12 or 13, and then got more serious about it in high school. And I don't know. I guess.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much the same for me. I only started singing during the pandemic actually, so that's kind of a newer thing. But I mean, pretty much the same for playing bass. You know what I mean? And like that's kind of like when I really started getting into music. You know what I mean? And like thinking it's something that I would want to do as well. You know?
Yeah. What got you into singing? Like, what was it that kind of led you that way?
I was always really interested in singing. Like, I mean, my main thing, like, literally just singing along to the radio, like, as a kid. You know what I mean? And just, like, listening to stuff. And I'd always just, like, felt very into that. But I had never been a singer or anything like that. And then, kind of, like, when we were first starting out with our project, like, we were always anticipating getting a singer or something like that. And then, when we realized it was just going to be the two of us, it was like, all right, now we need to, like, we got to get this going and kind of, get some singing going. So through kind of a long process, like finding that was like really cool,
Yeah. So tell me about the decision to make it a two-piece.
Yeah.
Where'd
We're
that come
basically like just like we wrote the majority of an album, which we've now finished, and we're kind of like figuring out how to play it all live because we just recorded all of it, and because we both like play so much guitar and all the instruments, it was like, well, why don't we just scale it back and make it a crazy two-piece thing instead of trying to find more people that you like gel with and that the vibe's right. Why not just keep it simple and weird?
Because also that way we could hit the ground running. You know what I mean? Like if you got to find people you like, you got to get them into the stuff, you got to teach them it, you know what I mean? And like that way, like literally just coming straight from like us having written all of it together, you know what I mean? Like we could just hit the ground running like that.
Yeah, and you two have gotten along pretty well over the years, I imagine, right? You
try our best.
You're like, okay, we don't get along, but we're gonna do this band because it needs to. It's got to work.
It's fucking like, I mean, of course, always like I'm the younger brother, and so like, always with siblings, there's always sibling stuff, you know what I mean? But like, what we've gotten to like get to be in this band together and stuff like that, like it's been so much fun, you know what I mean? I'm so thankful to get to do it with this guy.
Yeah, super fun.
Super cool.
Yeah. So you've been able to, outside of BottleRock, of course, you've been able to play some other festivals. What have been the highlights from the festivals that you guys have played?
Yeah, doing South by Southwest was really, really cool because we'd never gotten to go down to Austin before, you know what I mean? So that was definitely really, really cool, and like just seeing the way people are super into music at that festival, it's really cool.
And we just headed over to the UK a minute ago and finished up doing The Great Escape over there.
Wow. How was the UK?
Cool. Super fun. We really loved it. It was a total blast. We did Glasgow, and then we went to Ireland and to Dublin, and then we did Brighton and London, and it's a total blast. The audiences are awesome over there, so
yeah,
really fun.
Yeah. And so did you grow up on the road? I mean, touring with your dad and everything? Like.
Yeah, I mean, I guess half and half. We also stuck at home a lot, which I think was cool because we were both able to just kind of find our own paths with music, you know what I mean? And we're always super into it, and we would always go to shows and stuff, but I think spent a lot of time like at home messing around on instruments, listening on our own too. So
yeah. What was your first concert that you guys went to that, was on your own?
Oh, I got to think about that.
First, I guess
I know it's a tough one because you've been to so many, I'm sure, right?
I have to remember. I think I saw Green Day pretty early on, and that was like, I used to listen to American Idiot when I was like in second grade.
Oh yeah.
Just like so that kind of thing. That was really cool. Saw Alice in Chains. Remember that? Yeah, I'm trying to think of like really early ones.
Yeah, really early. Yeah, I can't think any earlier than that. Yeah, I think
Black Keys.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. I remember seeing Green Day pretty
Go to
early
Outside
too.
Lands, Muse.
Yeah. Where did you see Green Day? Do you remember?
It was at the Greek. Because we're from San Francisco.
Yeah.
So
the Greek Theater in Berkeley.
Yeah, which is, and seeing them in Berkeley, you know what I mean? It's like in their home territory is like a fucking totally different thing, really inspiring, you know?
I'll tell you, around American Idiot, like I saw him at ATT Park, right?
Yeah.
And then they released this show at the Warfield, and tickets sold out in a second, but I was able to get them, and so seeing them there, and they played as the Network and opened for themselves.
Oh, yeah.
It was one of the top shows of all time.
That's super rad.
It was incredible.
The Warfield would be a good venue to see a band like that too.
Oh yeah, because obviously that's a small place. It's a big place for a lot of bands, but coming from them playing 50,000 people at ATT Park, to 2,500 or whatever at the Warfield,
Totally.
I
Monstrous.
know.
It's awesome.
I know. It's pretty incredible when bands do that sort of thing.
Sick. Absolutely.
Yeah. So you guys are big Beatles fans too.
Yeah.
I mean,
100.
Like, you
I
can't
think
not like the Beatles.
literally formative. I think.
Like,
So important.
How did you choose to cover Eleanor Rigsby?
It's fun. Yeah.
That melody and just all those old songs are just so iconic, like just top to bottom, and they're really inspiring songs to mess with because there's so much you can do. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just think that all those, like that song has just always been like one of the ones I held really close because it's just like that melody is just so powerful, and so it's like you can, we would jam it a lot. You can do it so many different ways, so it was like a fun one to kind of mess with.
Yeah, exactly.
And you covered Blackbird as well.
No, we did, because it was cool, because like I used to, like we both kind of came up playing more like jazz influenced stuff, do you know what I mean? And so when I was younger, I used to do kind of like a jazzier version of that, you know what I mean? And then that's kind of what the Eleanor Rigby thing came out of too, is like, because like the whole thing, people take those pick like famous songs, you do them jazz style, and then like we knew that already, and then we kind of were just messing around with it in kind of more like the rock style that we do now, you know what I mean? That's kind of what those stuff came out of,
Yeah. So what's your, like when you cover a song like that, what's your approach to kind of make it your own, but pay respect to the original artist? Like, what does that look like for you?
I think it's a tough, like, concoction of things we were just talking about because we were, like, trying to figure out more songs to cover. But it's, like, hard, because you want to make things, like, I personally love it when bands like take something and totally flip it on its head, but it's like still sounds like it, I don't know, like that song was just like I think the melody's so powerful that you can just do almost anything with it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that was the jumping off point for us, is that it's such a like I don't know.
Yeah, no, and just like I think like seeing the different ways people have done Beatles songs through, you know what I mean, and kind of like seeing, because like those songs, kind of like we were saying, the Beatles are so like foundational and formative at this point in like Western like kind of popular music, that like it's almost like these things you can just take their songs and just fucking roll with them, you know what I mean? It just like it's kind of like free reign almost or something, you know what I mean? So it's definitely a lot of fun getting to do that,
Yeah. Are there other songs that you want to cover that you think might be on the docket? Like,
oh man, not anything specific right now.
Yeah.
I think it would be really sick to take some hip hop songs at some point.
Yeah.
That would be something.
Well, I think like for
I'm
us,
super interested in.
like the Rage Against the Machine cover album is one of our big inspos for, kind of specifically with that thing, because like they take those songs and completely, they're basic, they're just they're like almost Rage Against the Machine songs, but kind of like with these familiar melodies and stuff like that. And so like we love with that song, like taking this thing that's well known and just fucking flipping it on its head, you know what I mean? And so like what's cool, Eleanor Rigby is so well known, and so like taking other things that people know really well and just like completely, upside downing it would be like, that's kind of the stuff that gets us really excited,
Yeah, and that's the cool thing you can do as a two-piece, right? Because it's not going to sound like what the original artist, made it as, right? You're going to make it your own. So,
totally.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Layne, Dave Grohl is an influence of yours.
Yeah, I mean, Dave Grohl is like the fucking man just with everything, you know what I mean? And like even, he's so great because obviously like it's actually really cool. So Myles he does all the guitar recording in our music, like on the recorded versions, like Dave Grohl does. You know what I mean? He's a guitar player now, and he's also a drummer, and so like Dave Grohl is such an influence to me because like he brings a drummer's perspective to singing and guitar playing. You know what I mean? And so like I love, that's something really cool Myles does, and then like in that same way trying to think about like how would somebody else who's not a singer or a guitar player think about doing this? You know what I mean? Or like what's that weird spin they would bring? And like beyond that, Dave is just such a like insane front man, you know what I mean? I just like seeing his stuff, I'm just like, the way that he commands stuff is just like so great, you know. I think it's awesome.
He literally marches to the beat of his own drum too. Nobody does it like him, you know.
Seriously,
and it's incredible.
He's a huge influence for me too. In many ways.
Yeah. Who are some of your other influences as drummers?
Oh man, it stretches a lot of different. I mean, like, I think Dave Grohl is a really, really big one for me. I'm really into Matt Helders from Arctic Monkeys as well. I think he's really cool. I also love John Bonham. Like, Bill Ward is a really big deal for me too. I love Bill Ward. I mean, who else? I think Taylor Hawkins. Really,
and
like,
Ian
I think
Pace
Taylor
as
Hawkins
well.
is really like, Ian Pace from Deep Purple. Yeah. Those are definitely.
It's so sad with Taylor.
Like I still think about it every day.
Yeah, we literally, it was such a devastation for us.
Yeah, we were really sad.
Yeah, I mean, Foo Fighters are one of my favorite bands, and so I don't know, I can't imagine the Foo Fighters without him. You know, I don't know what's going to happen, obviously.
I have no idea either. It's literally
so crazy.
Insane.
But you know, I mean, we'll see, but it's just so really.
No, I'm just gonna remember him for his like amazing playing though. He's literally inspires me every time I hear him. You know what I mean? He's amazing.
Yeah. So let's talk about the new album a little bit. Some of the new songs. So, As the Sun Sets is the song you opened up with.
Yeah.
Tell me about that song.
Yeah. So that's well, what do you want to know about it? Just anything?
Yeah. How to come about? What you know?
That one, I think I was messing around with a bunch of that, and we were like spending a lot of time working on. Because he only started singing at the beginning of the pandemic, so we were like trying to constantly just work on vocal ideas for songs, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we got like a pretty solid amount of it together, like instrumentally, and then it was one of the first songs that we like kind of went in the booth together and we're like, all right, what are we gonna put on? Like, what kind of vocals are we gonna do for this? So it's kind of wrote it pretty quickly in retrospect, and it was also one of the first ones, which was super exciting. So that one that we definitely hold very near and dear to our hearts.
Yeah, always.
And what can you tell me about Respecter?
That one is one of the earliest ones as well, you know what I mean? And like that song is really cool because it had a big evolution in terms of like it came from a lot of things and kind of we got to refine it a bunch, do you know what I mean? And
that song went through like 30 different evolutions of being like literally it's one of those things that if you listen to every demo recording of it, it's like 19 different ways in every single one. And it's kind of cool when you finally have a song that comes together after all that.
Yeah.
So tell me about peeling back the onion on a song like that. Like, okay, so it starts as one thing, and then how do you get to the place where you're like, okay, this is good, this is final, we're not touching it anymore after 30 iterations.
Totally. Well, I think it was just like you have like a couple concepts for like a couple ideas, you know, you got okay, like this melody's great or like this idea for something is great, and then like but you can play it like 100 different ways, so it's like just working on it and then a week later listening to it and being like, all right, do I want to change it completely again? And then like, you know, it had a completely different chorus on it for like 3 months, and then we were about to record it, and like the day before we recorded it we were like, fuck, that's not as good as it could be, and so then we just like wrote a new one super quick, and then like moving the bridge was a huge part piece of it, just like moving that around a bunch of different times. I mean, yeah, it's fun. It's like that's another one of the ones that kind of like came together, like building a huge instrumental for it and then like figuring out the vocals later. Another early one.
And that was one of the ones like because kind of in that same way we started off doing a lot of the vocals together like that, you know what I mean? And that was one of those ones where like it was just kind of that process of continuously going like, can this be better? What can be better here? You know what I mean? Like that's, I think for us is that's a lot, one of the main things we look at with songwriting is just like really sitting down and listening, going like, does this sound like something? One thing I always do is I go like, does this sound like something I would hear a real band I like doing? Does that make sense? You know what I mean? Like not necessarily going like, oh, does this sound like a Foo Fighters song or something?
Sure. You're not trying to exactly copy.
We're doing our song. It's more like, could I imagine this as a real band? And then going like, you know what, that verse isn't good enough. And then like a new verse came on it. You know what I mean? And so just trying to continuously do that process with ourselves of just like, all right. And it's great because when you get it to that certain stage, you're like, hell yeah, this is the best thing ever. And then you listen a few days later and you go like, maybe we could still kind of like just keep getting it better. You know what I mean? So just like trying to refine all this, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it a full length that you're putting on?
Yeah,
Nine
yeah,
songs.
Nine songs. Yeah.
Okay. Was there a lot that ended up on the cutting room floor that you're saving for later, or were you pretty set
There
on
was
the?
a few.
There's
There's
definitely-
there's a
always
few.
things,
Yeah.
you know
There's
what
like
I mean?
probably
Like,
4 or
it's-
5 that
There's definitely some things that are going to be still on their way, you know what I mean? But it's like, it kind of became this thing where it's like at a certain point, you know what feels right for that project, and then you go like, you know what, that's cool, but I think we're gonna revisit that or something, you know what I mean? So I think it kind of just started coming together like that slowly.
Yeah. Yeah. And so does it have a name, release date? Like, what are you looking at for?
Yeah, so the album's called Once Bit, Never Bored, and we're coming out. The final release date for the full thing hasn't been finally settled on, but stuff's gonna start rolling out in July, which we're really excited about. So
July.
yeah,
A couple songs out in July.
Yeah.
Nice. So tell me about kind of the aspect of kind of going out and playing live, but not having the songs released. What has that kind of been like for you guys?
Yeah, it's interesting. You know,
It's definitely like a funny. It's been a bit of a crazy year for us, just like getting this band together and then playing shows, and also, you know, we had a majority of the album written for a while, but it was like that last 20%, you know. And so I think it's been really cool to at least start trying to cut our teeth live, you know, and like playing around and really trying to figure out what we're doing. We're definitely super excited for the music to come out. Like, I think it's gonna be. I'm even more excited to play live when the music's out than I am.
Yeah,
already,
because that's
you
the
know?
thing about it is that, like, you know, for us, the two-piece thing is a little bit of like a reinvention of it or something almost. Is that like, in the same way that, you know, like White Stripes or something, their songs are a little more flush, and then live it's really like kind of stripped down and garagey. Like, you know, he plays all the guitar on the album. Actually, he did all the guitar recording and stuff, and so like there's full, you know, sounds and textures and all, and like, you know, guitars that he's doing. But then like live, we get to like bring it down. So I think actually like, once it's out, my hope is that they like complement each other, you know what I mean? Is that there's like, it's not just the same thing exactly pulled into live setting, is that like we get to reinvent it a little bit, you know?
Yeah, and so it's going to be different with you playing the guitar. Obviously, you have a bass, but you don't have a guitarist, so that's going to be different when you go to the live show. From
exactly.
From
Yeah,
what you
know
hear
what I
on
mean?
I'm excited for people to hear that there's like a duality between the recordings and the live, because that's how we intended it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, the recordings, you can make them like as bombastic and insane as you want, you know, and that's what's fun about recording. But then like live, you could just turn it into this totally different thing that's more about bouncing off the walls, you know, and that's I'm excited for people to hear that balance of those two things, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So you have Lollapalooza coming up too. You're going to be playing that. I'm sure you're pretty excited about that.
Yeah, we're
really
insanely
excited.
stoked.
It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah. No, and there's a great bill that like this year is like going to be really cool.
Yeah.
Really excited.
Have you been to Lollapalooza before?
I have I went one day like a few years ago.
I've never been, and I've also never really visited Chicago either, so I'm really excited to do that. You know, get to go check that out. Yeah,
I went a couple years ago for the first time, really, and I didn't realize that like the Home Alone house was like an hour outside.
Oh, it is?
Outside of it, so I was like, we got to go there.
Yeah.
You know,
That's great.
yeah,
it's just a piece of my childhood, you know. So it was like right there. So we went and visited. But
that's
my,
fucking awesome.
That's my Chicago story for you. So
Hell yeah.
Chicago's great, man.
Now we gotta add it to the list. Place to visit.
Have some deep dish.
It's right outside. Exactly. I had some
Yeah.
deep dish, but you got it right when you're when in Rome.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So to speak.
100%.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Outside of touring and everything, like what is the coolest place you've been in the world? Like what sort of traveling have you done?
We were lucky enough. We got to go to Japan a few years ago,
Wow.
and that's my ultimate dream of a place to get to go play. You know what I mean? That the way that it's just so different over there. You know what I mean? And like the way people relate to music is just a little bit different. You know, and I think like in terms of like I see all these other acts going over there, and I think like as a place to like get to go play, that would be really
a
sick.
dream.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, and the audiences are so different in Japan from what I hear. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
like they roar and then silence, you know, which is crazy. So,
They love music over there, man. It's awesome.
yeah.
It's super cool.
And being from here in the Bay Area, what are your favorite places to see live shows?
In the Bay Area?
Yeah,
I like Bottom of the Hill a lot.
nice. Yeah.
We got to play the chapel, which was kind of a super full circle moment for me because I used to go there in high school all the time. I love Bill Graham for bigger acts. That's another great place. I mean, Rickshaw Stop. Where else?
Yeah, lots of. I mean, San Francisco
It's
has
very
just a
sad.
lot.
There's
of,
so many,
For
right?
me, they're very like eclectic venues. You know what I mean?
I'm
'Cause
really sad
like,
Slim's closed.
Oh
Yeah,
my God,
yeah.
That's a
yeah.
bummer for
I know
me.
that was the first thing to go in the pandemic,
Yeah.
and it was it was horrible. Like,
Yeah.
I bought a Slim shirt as soon as
Yeah, I know.
as soon as it
Bummer.
went.
I
because
saw
it's
so
like,
many people there.
they were such a part of my youth, you know,
Totally.
just like so many shows that I've been there and interview bands there and everything, and
Totally.
then it's just like it's gone and it's a dance club or something now.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not okay, you know.
That's
No,
annoying.
yeah, it's just such a bummer, man.
Such a bummer.
Yeah, but the Fillmore is my favorite place to see
Oh,
shows.
nice.
I mean, there's so
Fillmore's
much.
great.
Fillmore is like insane, like
Super
fucking
awesome.
how much history there is there. It's fucking crazy.
Get lost like looking at the posters on
Literally,
the walls
yeah,
and,
just like yeah.
and everything. So, yeah. Do you have any other Bay Area shows lined up or?
Not in the
There's some
moment.
stuff being in the works, but not anything that's currently announced right now, you know. But yeah, we fucking love coming to play in the Bay Area. I mean, it's like, of course, always like getting to visit home is so much fun, and then on top of that, the Bay Area is just like the way people like music's such a part of it here. You know what I mean? Just part of people's lives in different ways than other places, you know. So I think it's really, I love coming to the Bay Area.
Yeah. And as we wrap outside of music, what do you like doing for fun?
Hanging out with this guy. Yeah.
What do I like doing? I paint a lot. I love
he
painting.
paints a lot of the stuff.
I don't
you know?
claim to be good at it.
Yeah,
but it's
but
fun.
you do it
I
and you
claim
enjoy
he's
it.
good
That's
at
what
it.
matters,
I
right?
do it and I love it, and it's
Yeah.
very nice.
What do you like to paint, or you just let it free flow?
I've done a lot of different stuff. I've painted on canvas, but I've lately just been doing like weird clothes.
Yeah, no, he
and
does
stuff.
like our like clothes and stuff that we like, you know.
Yeah,
for the
it's
shows.
fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that. I mean, just hanging out in LA, been
Yeah.
having a really good time.
Yeah, exactly.
I like
Totally.
it. I
Yeah.
like it. Well, Layne, Myles, thank you for taking
Yeah,
the time
thank
today.
you so much, man.
Yeah,
Thank you.
It's so fun.
And I hope you enjoy the rest of BottleRock today.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
That was the interview with Taipei Houston here on Concert Pipeline. And yep, you guessed it. We're going to play one more song from Taipei Houston's set here at BottleRock. And it was another one, a rockin' one. And it seems like as the set goes on, they just rock harder and harder and harder. And so they get, I mean, it's an incredible vibe that they got. And I'm really proud of these guys for doing their thing, breaking away. I didn't mention who their dad is, as I said in the interview. We touched on it once, but I didn't talk about it at all. I will say it here. They are the sons of Lars Ulrich, the drummer for Metallica, and Metallica played BottleRock on Friday. A freaking kick-ass set, which is really great. I loved seeing Metallica again. It was probably my third or fourth time seeing them, and what a great addition to BottleRock because they've never played before. So, but this isn't about Metallica right now. This is about Taipei Houston, and so we're gonna play one more song, and this is the Good Times song here on Concert Pipeline.
Thank you.
That was a good time song here on Concert Pipeline by Taipei Houston, and we for the other episodes we've been closing it out with a big banging song from a BottleRock headliner for the evening. But to be honest, I was hoping to share a song from Bleachers, Jack Antonoff's band, to close out the show. But I just got word that they backed out. They were here, but they backed out because of a COVID situation. I don't have any more information than that right now, but I didn't get to check them out, and I don't think I'm going to stay for Pink, to be honest. I am festivaled out. I'll just keep it real. So instead of that, we got some other kind of cool content, some stuff that I recorded just a little bit ago. I've talked a lot about the Culinary stage and how cool it is. But I haven't showed any footage of it. So right after the interview with Taipei Houston, I went about 100 yards to my left, and the Culinary stage is right over there. And they had a cool demonstration where Luke Combs and Tiffany Thiessen, formerly Tiffany Amber Thiessen, for those around my age group who know Kelly Kapowski from Saved by the Bell. Apparently she was on 90210 also, but I didn't know that until my buddy Jens told me. She was there, and she's a chef now. She has a chef show on MTV, and she was making Luke Combs some homemade Hot Pockets because she heard he's a big fan of the Hot Pockets. She talked about how she scoured his Instagram to find that information, and I think the chef was Andrew Zimmerman, if I remember correctly, that was with them as well. And Liam Makelem hosts the Culinary stage every year, so he gets to talk to the celebrities and the chefs as well. So I recorded just a couple clips. I'm going to put them together, and they're going to close out this episode of Concert Pipeline. So here is a little peek into the Culinary stage, which is a big part of the BottleRock Festival. As a reminder, next episode, the culmination of all of this is the performances episode, where if you didn't get enough performances in the first 4 episodes, you're going to get a lot more in the 5th. There's going to be a lot of rock and music from artists who are on the program, as well as some headline performances as well. So you'll be able to check that out next time. For all of us here at Concert Pipeline, I'm Steve Jones. We'll catch you next time.
He's beautiful. He's crazy. Please raise your ice cold beers in the air for Luke Combs. Luke, sing it up. Look at this sexy crowd. What do you think? Look pretty good out there. So, Luke, I know this is wine country. It's also a little bit beer country. What are you feeling, Luke, in terms of the wine country vibes? Are you feeling it?
It's feeling good, man. I haven't had any wine yet, so I don't know. We'll see, I guess.
We hope you have a little before your set tonight. You go on at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock tonight. Who's going to see Luke? Good. Pretty fucking good, BottleRockers. Okay, Luke, the taste test. Oh my God, I get to eat.
By the way,
I love you.
The puff pastry.
That was really great.
Really makes it
Savory.
savory. Oh yeah.
Now, that's a little taste of heaven.